Show us your tips, Daggy and Beaver with you to talk racing. This is what we're doing here. To preview Friday night racing at the moment. We've got Canterbury and Moonee Valley in action. Two pretty good looking betting cards, actually. Beaver, what's going on?
Yeah, I thought the same, mate. It's not the deepest field, so I think if you can narrow it down to a few chances, and if you go the right way, I think you can have a really good night at some on these cards. I found it hard really to find things wider in the market. They just didn't look to have too much chance, except for maybe a couple of the unraced races. So hopefully we can point the punters in the right direction. But out and out, all pretty good, mate.
Yeah, I agree. It's the I agree. Weather obviously plays a part. I think we'd hope for some better stuff in Sydney by now, but currently listed as a heavy. We'll start at Canterbury, where the rail moves to the 6 metre mark. Currently listed as a heavy 8. I'm hoping the rain buggers off like it was supposed to. We should get to around a soft track, but in that position, I think it probably plays fairly well. You can run on once that rail moves out a little bit, so treated that way, and I agree. I think it's a good one for singling out some favourites. We kick off in the first with the 2-year-olds over the 1100 metres, and how are you going to start the night?
Yeah, look, there's a few unraced here and a few that have had sort of that one start that are in the market. I'm leaning towards the Hawks trained Untouchable Legend here. Thought its trial was pretty good. Won quite comfortably there. Had plenty more in the tank. Has JMac and drawn quite well. So I had it on top. Thought it just presented okay value around the $5 mark.
Cool. I'm with the Waterhouse horse, the Tukui Santuza. It hit the line pretty well in both its trials. We saw Introducing come out and win off the back of one of those trials. Inside Gate hopefully posies up well enough, and I have it on top. I agree with what you said about Untouchable Legend. It's one of the dangers, and French Endeavour was a pretty good debut. Just first time out, and now comes here second up. But a good race to play around the favourites. Next best, Legolas, who went to Newcastle and set outside lead there, and was pretty brave actually. But Waterhouse Stable's flying with the babies and going to stick with it. The second is benchmark 64 over the 1200 metres, and I've got Demiana on top. A fantastic debut here. Last time in, trial was great coming back here, just trucked around there and looked great again. J-Mac on, swooping gate, as I said, out with the rail out, shouldn't be too much of an issue. And I've put it on top, Kazoo's been sent to the later one. I've got the main danger as Lamandra, who did beat what I thought's a talented horse in Perseal, but that got beat again on yesterday. So we'll have control, but the Waller runner on top for me. Beaver, yourself?
Yeah, pretty keen on the Waller runner here. A lot to like about it. It's only win, won very comfortably there. Had a nice easy trial. And look, this looks like it will run well here. Good draw again. McDonald on board. I thought it could run well. And I thought the two around $10 mark, Raccamello and Ninja Lou Star, both won their last starts, and I think they could run well and sneak into the minors.
Beautiful. The third is a benchmark 64 over the 1900 metres. What do you like here?
Yeah, look, I've stuck with Wategos here. I kind of went looking for something that around this, and I thought this was just a really average field. Look, it won really well last start, and prior to that, ran in some okay races. I think the key might be its best two runs have been its last two runs where it's been on pace and led them up, and 1500 out to 1900 now looks ideal, gets the 2 kilo claim, so it is up a little bit in weight on its recent run here, but beaten pretty easy, and this is just a pretty weak affair here, so got it on top because I couldn't find anything else.
I agree. It's clearly on top for me. Dylan Gibbons takes a claim off if you suggested if you're worried about the weight, but this is a provincial race at best. And a pretty average provincial race. This rolls forward off a win up in grade, now comes back and leads back in grade, gets through the ground okay, and I think it's going to be very, very hard to beat. I think it's the bet of the night for me here. Not going to add much more to that. The fourth is a 1550 benchmark 72, and the resumption. Well, I think there's two hopes, and I'm going to lean towards journalism, just drawn a bit better, pushing forward with the fitness now. Could even find the lead in this race here for Brett Preble. And going quite well, missed a start last time out and was still well home, beaten there, but hopefully all goes to plan and we take up a nice spot here. I think it's a horse to beat from Awesome John. Probably the best horse in the race. Trial was fair, just picking him off late. And I just noticed now the money's starting to come for it. May well start much shorter. But I think that's the two clear hopes. I'm just going with the fitness edge on the rain-affected track. Beaver, how are you looking at this one?
No, I'm going for Awesome John first up here. I think it's got better form than most of these. I think it's probably a horse that'll win a bit better race than something like this. And I think it's not too tough a task here first up. I thought had it on top. And I thought a horse like Sensationalisation, could run well and sneak into a place here. So they were sort of the two I was looking at.
Beauty. The fifth is a 1,250 metre benchmark 72. Resumption of a nice horse here in Pungo. Beaver, is that how you're looking?
Yeah, absolutely. Really like Pungo here. Keen to see how it returns here. And I think it's the clear on top pick here. Its trial wasn't asked to do much in its trial, but its form last preparation was really good. Walked in a maiden at Warwick Farm and then went straight down to a Group 3 at Flemington. Started, I think, favourite, led and got run over there over the 1,600. But I expect this horse will take care of these.
Agree. Yeah, this is a nice horse. I had it. I think we'll both. If you weren't, I definitely was tipping it in that Group 3 race too. So coming here, love the trial. J-Mac on, can sit wherever it wants. It'll probably lead these up just about here, and it'll win this and go into better stuff throughout the autumn. So like it and keen to be involved. The sixth is a 1,900 metre benchmark 72, where I am going to say this is the time for Wineglass Bay, now fourth up. It was pretty good in a Saturday race last time out, just grabbed late by Claim the Crown, who we don't know the upside of. Hopefully can find a running line spot, maybe three back running line here, and should be good enough to beat these. A lot of these are just whackers. Still a bit of upside here. Might be a nice night, as we tend to say, for J-Mac. On top for me, the favourite. Beaver, yourself?
Yeah, bloody awful race, this one. There's only two chances. I went for the bit better value in Osred Rising Sun. Mm-hmm. Just thought its 3 runs have all been pretty good. And it'll be finishing off quite nicely, hoping they can come down the middle of the track. It's done well on the soft going before, and just got to get off the fence at the right time.
Yep, no, fair call. The seventh is 1,100 metre night sprint final of benchmark 78. This is a little bit track dependent. If we get a dry track here, and might not even matter if dry track here, Mars Mission, I think, is a moral. I think it rolls to the front and wins this. The trial was good coming back again. Did some good stuff last prep. And again, another one going on to better things. I think might be in for some decent Saturday stuff down the road. From Diamond Dealer, who does get J-Mac and is flying, comes back from Saturday grade, but in fact doesn't. Was stuck to the Warwick Farm last time out, but comes through that race. I think they're the two key chances, but going with the fresh up Hawks horse here. What do you think?
Yeah, I've gone for Mars Mission as well. Resuming here. Look, drawn a little bit wide, so might need a little bit of luck, but gets the 2 kilo claim from Lloyd. Hawks should have this thing ready to go, and I think you're right. I think it'll handle the soft track, even if it is a bit soft, and everything in the trial suggested that it's ready to run well first up.
And we're going to wrap up the day with a benchmark 72 over 1,200 metres. What do you like in the last?
Yeah, look, another tricky affair to finish the last race. I was a bit disappointed with Kazoo last start, which it'll need to improve. And for that reason, I've gone for June Quira. I think it can run really well. I think the 4-gate suits, been ultra consistent this time in. Won really well at the Gold Coast and certainly wasn't disgraced last start, probably a little bit further, and it wins. So it can run really well, and I've got it on top.
I agree. I had it on top as well from a bit of a freshen up, a few weeks off since its last start, and it was pretty good last time out too. Just a little bit unlucky there as well. I was hoping Kazoo went to the earlier race, so I could perhaps back both of them. But do have Jinkara on top. I was going to tip Sebrenco in the midway on Saturday, so if it does turn up here around the 20s, I'll have a little tiny bet on that as well. But Jinkara on top. Off the freshen up here as well. That's a whirlwind look through Canterbury. Have you got a best and even a value on a tricky card, to be honest, to find some value?
Yeah, I didn't really have a value, so I went for two best bets. I've gone race 2, number 4, Demiana, and I've gone race 5, number 4, Pungo. I think just back both of those.
Lovely. For me, race 3, number 1, Wategos should lap them just about. Agree with what you said about Pungo, agree with what you said about Demiana, and for the sake of a value bet, look, I'll say race 8, number 1, Sebrenco, but favourite's going to be hard to beat in that race too on a good betting card on a Canterbury to set us up for a big Saturday, hopefully. We head down to Moonee Valley, where the rail moves to the 5 metre mark, I believe, on a good track. It still was some warm weather around there, so we're going to be very wary of some on-pace bias. But as we get into this, we kick off with a 3-year-old maiden over the 1,200 metres to start the day, and I'm going to start the day with the favourite again in the Swooper. Good time out here last time, a good run last time out at the track here. Ollie jumps on, outside gate should roll forward, and I think it's going to give you a great side here. The only danger, well, there's a couple of dangers, but I was going to have a little spec or a saver on Tunguska. Having a first up start for the Bus and Young team, fresh stable there, but I think the Swoop is going to be very hard to beat in the first. Beaver, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to take on the favourite here from gate 11. I thought there just might be a bit of speed underneath and it might get caught a little bit wide here and find it have to do too much work. I've gone for the unraced Lazy Susan from the Mar Eustace stable. I expect it can run well, be turned up here to run well and got it on top.
The second is a mile benchmark 64, a little bit trickier. What do you like?
Yeah, tricky race this one. Really hard to get a guide on this. I've gone for the top weight, Piaggio.
Yeah.
Won well last start. Represents good value here. Hit the line really strongly at Pakenham in a night meeting there. So this handles the 1,600 metres. Should get a decent run in the 6, and I think he can run well.
I've got on top as well. So I agree. Yeah, I like what it's done this time in. And I think give you another good side around the $10 mark there from Alphaville, who's racing well as well. And if we're running on, we should be in the finish again. I was 1 from 2 in the second. The third is a 20-40 metre benchmark 70. And keen as mustard here on the top weight, Summerbeel. Coming off the Kenzo win there where it was quite brave, gets down here to the valley, and when Waterhouse sends them down south, they don't miss too often. Gets Blake Shin on board a leader. It's going to roll straight to the front, jiggy jog along in front, and I think it's going to win this race. I'm fairly keen. It's easily the horse to beat here. What do you think?
I'm with you. Like the fact that it's had a win in Sydney and now it goes to Melbourne, steps up to the 2,000 metres at the Valley, will go forward, and I think it'll give them something to chase. I'm pretty keen it can run well as well. It's got Blake Shin on board. Yep. It will run well.
Beauty. The fourth is a 9.55 benchmark 70. What have you got for us here?
Yeah, I'm going for another Sydney sider here in Petulant. I think he can run well. It's third up here, which means got a nice bit of fitness under its belt. Both runs haven't been too bad. They're 4th and 5th, but they've been less than 2 lengths. Off the leader, again, gate 4's good. It'll jump and run, get control here on the fence, and they'll have to get past it.
I've got Foxconn on top just because it was pretty impressive once it got out last time here. Hit the line very well, but I'm absolutely terrified of Petulant. As you've said, comes down now, takes up the lead. Ollie on again. He's not going to mess around. And you could argue, well, probably not an argument, comes through stronger Sydney midweek stuff in different form. So Yeah, I am terrified of it, but I do have the favourite on top. There's every chance I change my mind by the time we get to jump, though, as you've outlined the case for. The fifth is a 1,000 metre benchmark 64, where I'm going to spec the freshie here, actually, Zurada, who was a very, very nice win coming in last time. Then had an issue before it spelled, just has come back since. Blake Shin again on the leader, and the trials again were fantastic. So led around a couple of trials, and around the $10 mark, I'm going to have a little spec on it. And I do have the danger as sparring, who does come off the nice win here last time out. Does lose Jamie Carr to get Celine Gowdry and gets an outside gate, which perhaps a couple of negatives they'll consider, but probably still best horse. But just again looking for fresh blood off a nice trial Beaver. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I liked sparring last start, but I've moved away for exactly those reasons that you've stated. It's drawn wide here, gate 10. I think it's going to need a lot of luck in running here, and I just can't back it at $3, risking that it'll sit 3 wide, and if it does, it can't win. I've gone for Super Thief. It gets a 3 kilo claim here. Hit the line quite well behind it. The Speedy Mutinous last start at the Valley over the 888 distance. So out to the 1,000 here, it'll get a good camp just off the pacing gate 2 here, and I think this could finish over the top of them.
Beauty. The 6 is the staying race, the 3,000 metre benchmark 70. Do you like anything here?
Yeah, I think the favourite will be hard to beat here. Sunday Buzz broke through over the Valley. 3,000 here a couple of weeks ago. It was pretty convincing in that. Goes up slightly in weight, but meets a very similar class field here. It'll be too good.
I'm going to suggest the danger here is Minor Legacy. Comes back to the scene of the crime where it won and won well. Pretty much she was given a perfect ride and run from Daniel Stakehouse, but I think gets the same setup here and comes back from chasing, then's had the tick over chasing So Unusual on a Saturday, comes back to this, which is an average race, and around a $10 mark. I've got it on top from Sunday Buzz, as suggested, on the up, and runs well again, but keen on the price more than anything else there. The 7th is a benchmark 64, 2040. What about this one?
Yeah, this is super tricky. I just went for 2 horses here. I'll play Flambeur. I think it can run really well. 1-3 starts back, which was a nice win at Wyong. Won fairly comfortably there, and then went to step back in distance at Canterbury, and was, pretty long in the odds, but didn't finish that far off him. Bit disappointing last start, but I think it can, now it goes to Melbourne, can improve. And I think third up, Pontificate can run well. So I sort of had those two as I would play, back one, save on the other.
I don't like the race at all. I'm going to put Flambeau on top because I actually tipped it in that race at Warwick Farm on the quick backup. Freshen up down south. Matt Smith has had some success, so for the sake of a bet, at around a $9 mark on top, but I don't really like the race at all. The 8th and last is a benchmark 70, which is a little cracking race here to finish up over the 1,200 metres, and Smashing Eel came back off the gelding and absolutely smashed them, resuming here. If it gets the run off, is an emergency. If it gets a run, which it should have now, I'm just looking through. What do we need? A couple of get in here.
There's been one scratching.
One scratching. We need probably 2 more. If it gets a run, it'll win this race. It's a nice horse. Did some ran pretty well on a Saturday before it went out. As I said, come back on a gelding and run well. Hits this race and is on the up. If it doesn't, I have a couple here I'm going to spec. Rekindled Express, resuming, trialled well off the back of its first prep in Oz, and Cooled, who gets the inside gate. Maybe a bit of work to do from there, but again has trialled really well. Should push forward and be close to leading this race. Has shown some nice paces in those jump outs, but other chances and talented horses in this race. A really good benchmark 70. If the favourite's not here, as I said, I'll spec a couple around a double figure odds. What did you think?
Yeah, I had Smashing Eagle on top as well. It was super impressive first up. There was a lot to like that, the way it accelerated away from him. That was outstanding. It goes good, this horse, and will be super hard to beat. So, yeah, if he gets a start, it'll be hard to beat. Otherwise, I also thought Cooled could run well from the inside gate.
Cool.
Goes well first up. Has won 4 out of 8 at this distance and 2 out of 3 first up, and a placing for the other one. Tried well. Yeah, it could run well as well.
Beauty. For progressracing.com.au, check them out. And, of course, pop back tomorrow afternoon to check out our preview of Blue Diamond Stakes Day, as well as Anime returning in Sydney. We'll be a little bit more alert and alive, not doing it late at night there. But I'm going to make my best race 3, N1 Summerbeel for the Waterhouse team. And I've locked a couple at a price, but for the sake of it, let's say race 6, number 2, Minor Legacy can run you a nice side around the $10 mark. Your best in value, Beaver.
Yeah, my best bet is race 8, number 16, Smashing Eagle. I think it'll be smashing them. And my value bet is race 5, number 3, Super Thief.
Beautiful. Good job, mate. Good luck tomorrow night. Good luck tomorrow night, punters.
Thank you.
We'll be back, as I said, tomorrow afternoon to look at a massive weekend of racing all across the eastern seaboard. Take care, guys, and we'll talk soon. Catch you then.